It's Reverend Ahmondra coming to you from the place where the queens always speak their truth. Over the last several months, I have been counseling with individuals and meeting with groups, and they all are expressing so much anxiety, so much personal conflict about what they're experiencing in the world. I've been blessed to be in many different situations where I've learned so much wisdom and knowledge from individuals who have devoted their life to creating peace and harmony and mindfulness inside of their world. And I want to share those techniques and practices and tools with you. And so I decided to come up with 5 simple steps that could help us create peace of mind and strengthen our mental health. I believe in simple, not difficult, not long, but simple. So over the course of a month, I am going to be delivering a 5-part series on creating peace of mind and strengthening your mental health. You will be able to listen to step 1 through step 5 and gain some insight on what keeps us from having a peace of mind. It's not difficult, but it's not something that we learn in school, nor is it something that we learn in life unless we are seeking that information out. So join me and see how these steps can be applied in your life to help you create the kind of world that you cherish and you want to live in every single day. Step 4 in our series is learning how to keep track of your thoughts and emotions so that you can strengthen your mental health and always be in a state where you have peace of mind. We fall into trouble and disturb our peace of mind when we don't pay attention to the fact that some of the thoughts that are running through our mind do not belong to us. And those thoughts are creating emotions in our lives that are keeping us in chaos and in turmoil and in conflict. I want us to begin to understand that we can monitor our thoughts just by paying attention to what you're thinking about, just by paying attention to how you're reacting to something. Because when you don't monitor your thoughts and how they are impacting your emotions, you will have behaviors sometimes that are not conducive to your mental health. There are 3 areas that I want to pay attention to today of what happens when we don't monitor our thoughts and pay attention to how those thoughts are kicking off certain emotions. We have something that happens to us and it's called emotional overload, and it leads to reactive behaviors. You can be so overloaded with your thoughts and how they're impacting you that your behaviors come reactive. You're not choosing to have a behavior, you're just reacting. And if you're always reacting all the time, it takes a toll on your psyche. And you get to a place where you feel like you just want to explode. And usually when we explode, it's in anger and it's directed at someone who doesn't even deserve to have that anger put upon them. We also can create these negative thought cycles and we begin to see the world in a particular way. We begin to look at the world from a perspective where the glass is half full or the glass is half empty. When the glass is half full, there's possibility there. There's opportunity there. We are optimistic about life. But when the glass is half empty, there's a darkness there. There's a pessimism there, and we fail to see the opportunities that might be right in front of us. I want you to take a moment and look at your own thought pattern. Do you see the world as a glass half full, or do you see it as a glass half empty? Because that's going to determine what type of mental health you have. That's also going to determine whether you live inside of a state where there's a peace of mind or you live in a state of chaos and turmoil. Because if you live in a place where the glass is half empty all the time, you're constantly in a place of negativity. But when your glass is half full, you're constantly looking for new opportunities, ways to grow, ways to have your life open up. When we fail to monitor our thoughts and emotions, it throws us into a state where we begin to lose control. That loss of control creates stress and fatigue. And many times it's because we're failing to look at the thoughts that we're thinking every single day. Are you stuck in a loop? A loop means that you keep thinking the same thought over and over and over again, and you keep getting the exact same result, feeling bad, feeling less than, feeling tired, feeling stressed. You do have an opportunity to change your thoughts. Thoughts are under our control. But first, we have to understand and know that. When you know that you can control your thoughts, if something pops into your head, you simply say, I don't want to think that right now. And then you just change that thought in the moment. You have that power. And when you change that thought in the moment, something else great happens. Your emotions begin to change. Because I thought for years that I didn't have any control over my emotions. If I was sad, I was sad. If I was happy, I was happy. I didn't realize that if I changed my patterns of thought, I could come out of a place that's sad. And I discovered if I cultivated another thought pattern, I could live inside of a space of calmness, a state of joy, and it didn't matter what the external circumstances were. External circumstances do not have to dictate how we feel inside. Yes, we may feel grief, but at the same time, we could also feel gratitude. So now let's look at what happens when you do take charge of your thoughts and monitor them and your emotions. You can begin to foster mental clarity and emotional stability. You know how sometimes you feel like you're just going crazy because you're emotionally unstable, you're just emotionally all over the place? You can create emotional stability when you create mental clarity. Mental clarity simply means that you know what thoughts you are thinking. Another thing that happens when we monitor our thoughts and our emotions, we prevent negative thought patterns from just taking us over. We can live for years inside of a negative thought pattern and not even realize how it's impacting our body. We may be overeating, we may be undereating, all because we want to feel differently, not realizing that we're stuck inside of a negative thought pattern. And we can change that thought pattern simply by remembering, are you looking at the glass as half full or are you looking at it as half empty? When you have something that simple in front of you, you can say in the moment, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to see the world as half empty. I want to see the world as half full. And in that moment, a shift will occur and you will begin to take control over your thoughts and your emotions. When you are in charge of your thoughts and emotions, it empowers us to respond thoughtfully or not to respond in a way that's going to hurt someone. Because once words come out of your mouth, you cannot take them back. But when you are monitoring your thoughts and your emotions, you are empowered to take charge of what comes out of your mouth. If you are a parent, you know there's been days where you've been stressed to the max and your child comes to you. And because you are stressed and you're fatigued, you may respond in a way that hurts their feelings. But when you are monitoring your thoughts and your emotions, you are empowered to respond in a way that's thoughtful or doesn't throw them into a negative thought pattern. Because we have to remember when we are in a negative thought pattern, we can throw somebody else into a negative thought pattern. And guess what? The whole house can be caught inside of negative thought patterns, and that creates stress, turmoil, and conflict inside our environment. Monitoring our thoughts and emotions also allows us to create the type of world that we want. Because in the moment, we are paying attention to how we're feeling. We're paying attention to what we're thinking. We no longer accept information coming to us from others that doesn't empower us. We take the time to do our own research and to create our own opinion. So I want all of us to begin to pay attention to our thoughts and our emotions because that way we are going to be able to also control our behaviors and create stability in our life strengthen our mental health, and live inside of a peace of mind. We may not be able to control those external circumstances, but we certainly can control how we respond to them. And it's in the response where we get to monitor our thoughts and emotions. And remember, we are role models for those young sisters coming behind us. And it's so important that we help them to understand they can control their thoughts and emotions. They do not have to allow others to dictate to them how their world should be. Thank you for joining me today for step 4. And if you haven't seen step 1, 2, and 3, I invite you to go back and look at them because they're like building blocks. Each one adds to the other, and we come away with a total and complete program on how to strengthen our mental health and create peace of mind in our life all the time. If you haven't picked up a copy of my book, The Uncrowned Queen Reclaims Her Throne When a Black Woman Breaks the Silence, or the journal that goes with it, please pick up a copy. And if you have your own copy, I invite you to send one out as a gift. Please join me next week when I go into step 5, embracing our divinity and claiming our birthright as divine beings. Blessings.